to Hitchcock. He was still working for the Santa Fe Railroad, and his first job was keeping cows off of the railroad track because there was an open range, and the cows just wandered around everywhere. There were no fences there. So he was anxious to get into the grocery business because that's the business he had been in Europe. And the bread butchery store became available, and that was his first grocery store. And it was a little wooden building. It was on the corner of on Railroad Avenue. And so that was the first store that he had, and he built the brick store in 1927. It is now used for school offices. He sold everything in his store: food, clothes, boots, shoes, horse collars, and kerosene. Kerosene was a necessity in those days, and it sold for 8 cents a gallon. Everyone used it for their kerosene lamps, and most of them had kerosene stoves, so they did sell a lot of kerosene.
And you probably know this building. Anybody know this building? That was the second store, and that's what it looked like in the 1930s. Same building. It's where you have your school board meetings now. Same building.
That's why the police department.
That's right.
He had the first radio, telephone, carbide lights, and sidewalk in Hitchcock. He was very active in civic and church affairs, and he played the saxophone for the modern woodland band. He was always interested in scientific advances and read everything he could find about that. He predicted that the man would be on the moon before the end of the century, and sure enough, he did make it.
And I've got to stop you right there.
Okay.
I'm so mean. I'm a mean woman. Okay.
Do you have time for me?
Yeah, it's your turn.
I'm gonna just.
Remember, they gotta leave at 10:15. Sorry.
Well, I'll talk quick. Well, mine is about, I'm from the Shamsa family. I'm the youngest daughter of that family, but I wanted to tell you about life in Hitchcock during World War II. Are you familiar with World War II? When Pearl Harbor was attacked in 1941, December 7th? Well, right after that, they decided that they wanted, I was about your age during this time, a little younger. But anyway, at this time, they decided that the government decided they wanted to put in an army camp and a naval blitz base. The blitz base is a big, you all know what blitz base is? Blitz is.
Are they familiar
It's like the Goodyear blitz at the football team. Well, anyway, they built Camp Wallace, and the change was that Hitchcock was a very small, quiet town, but then all of a sudden, all these construction workers came into town, hundreds of them, and they started delivering the lumber and everything on the depot. And so the store that you saw that's now the school, I would be on that sidewalk watching all this activity when I was your age. And so I would see all of this, activity going on, and the people had to live in some of the produce houses. They made dormitory type living facilities for them there, and the men would live there. And so then after that was built, the soldiers came in, and they let all of the soldiers, all the men that were going in for basic training, off at this same depot. And so I saw all these trucks just lined all down North Railroad Avenue picking up the soldiers. So then at the same time they were building the Naval Air Base in West Hitchcock on that side. And so there was, they continued to be a large group of population there at that time. And so another thing is that when it was finished and the blitz would come over, I was born in that house over there, and I'd get up on that two-story porch up there when I hear it coming, because you could hear it. And they would go, and as they would pass over, you could see the men. They were so low coming into the base, you could see the men there. But what they were doing is they were going out to see if they could see enemy submarines. It was observation. And they would go out there and look all through Gulf of Mexico. And it's surprising. A few years back, I went back and saw a map of all the enemy submarines that were in the Gulf at that time, and I almost couldn't believe that they would be that close to the United States. And so anyway, and at the same time that this was going on, we would have air raids or blackouts, that they would call it, and you would hear the siren go off, and you would have to turn off all your radios. There were no TVs at that time, but all the radios, you had to talk quietly and turn off all the lights, and the cars would stop there on the road, wherever they were, turn off their lights until the blackout drill was over. And my father was an air raid warden at that time. And and then another thing we would do is, I had a little red wagon, and I would go and collect, or my friends would go collect scrap metal and tires or anything, and we would they would stockpile it, and they used that to make new defense, things for the war, vehicles and stuff. And so then another thing my father, recycle, I think that was the first recycling, that's right. And so then another thing my daddy did, my father, I should say, was that he had this feed truck that he would deliver feed in, but on Sundays he used it for, he would pick up the sailors and the soldiers and they would be on weekend pass, and he would take them into Galveston because they were hitchhiking, just covered on the highway. You take them to Galveston, then you shoot another bunch and bring them back to the base here. So that's about all that. But then one thing about the teachers is that they had to carry, the youth to go to the service. So like we had to have teachers that were brought out of retirement, and then some of them we would just have for a short time because they would be wives of some of the soldiers and the sailors. It was a very exciting time to live in. I tell you, it was scary too.
Thank you. We're joined by the other rest of the third grade now. And what we're doing here is different family members are talking about what they remember about Hitchcock. The next one I'm going to introduce to you is Mr. Harry Robinson. And he was the mayor of Hitchcock 4 times. 4 times, yes. And his family dates back to the 1800s in Hitchcock. And he is going to tell you about the Robinson family. How many of you know where Robinson Road is? Does anybody know where Robinson Road is? Well, that road was named after his family. And I'm going to turn it over to Harry.
Thank you. Good morning. How are you doing, Brandon? That's my neighbor back there. What I'm going to tell you just briefly is about my grandfather, William Sheldon Robinson, known as Charles Robinson. And he was born in 1846 in Hannibal, Missouri. He enlisted as a 17-year-old in the Union Army and in Arcadia, Missouri. And he was captured in 1864 at Mark's Mill in Princeton, Arkansas. He was brought to Texas as a prisoner of war and was imprisoned in Tyler, Texas, and moved to Camp Gross, a Confederate prison near Hempstead, Texas. He was later released on December the 12th at Galveston, and that's how he came from Missouri all the way to Galveston. And but then he traveled over to New Orleans to re-enlist or whatever with another group, Company A of the 11th Regiment of the Cavalry of Missouri Volunteers, and was discharged in New Orleans on July the 27th, 1865. He came back to Texas. When he was discharged or mustered out, he was given $100 and a pistol and a rifle. And that was his pay when he mustered out. But he came, in the meantime, he went through, I guess while he was in East Texas, he met his bride, which is my grandmother, Eva Robinson, in Palestine. She was from Palestine. And they married in Houston and had 5 daughters and 2 sons. My father and his brother, Will, was killed in the 1900 storm. They bought their property in Hitchcock in mid-1890s is when they came to Hitchcock. Built a home out off of Robinson Road on Center Street. And the original home was destroyed in the 1900 storm, in which my uncle was killed. He was 21, going on 22. And the house was totally destroyed, and a new house was built from the driftwood, or a lot of the driftwood, timbers from the 1900 storm. The Gulf of Mexico, back in 1900 storm, was up here at where we're standing, or the building's located. All the driftwood from Galveston, from the homes, was on the mainland. And most of the material for that existing home, which now stands that my oldest brother lives in, came from the 1900 storm. I was born in the home that's existing 64 years ago, out there on Center Street.
You weren't born in hospitals then, right?
No. The day that I was born, they were buried. My grandmother had passed away on December the 1st, and she was being buried the day that I was born. My father farmed the property that they had, and worked in town at the vegetable packing plants that we had at Hitchcock in the 20s and 30s. And then in 39, he went to work for Pan American Oil, which became Amoco, and now BP Petroleum in Texas City.
Would you tell them where the house is located? Because some of them were kind of wondering.
Where the Little League ballpark is?
Yes.
All right. The intersection of that road is Robinson Road, where the Little League ballpark is. Go down to Center Street and take a left, and you can see, you can see the house from the ballpark. And my oldest brother presently lives there. And, we need to keep this fire safe.
How's Harvey doing for time? Is it time to go? Pretty close. Okay, we're going to just take it here.
Okay. I was the first elected city commissioner in 73, but this picture here was when I was sworn in 1979 as mayor by municipal judge Finkelman, who now lives in Friendswood. I served 5 years as city commissioner and 9 years as mayor.
That's him.
Well, how old back then, there was, when I was commissioner, it was 34 years old, and that there is
You like his
probably 60,
That was him.
64,
And he was the mayor 4
65
times.
Here's your man.
Yeah. You want to see the mayor? And that's him. That's the mayor. Used to be mayor. Here you go, Tim.
Kenny's husband Kenny is my next door.
Okay. Well, I know.
Judge signed about 67.
Oh, we told me to sign. We're fine.
Anybody got any questions?
Do you have any questions of any?
And graduated from college, and I became a teacher, and Mrs. Crosby was my principal. So I had Miss Crosby again as my principal for, let's see, until she passed away, really about 2 or 3 years. So that was quite an experience. And she is the one that influenced me to become a teacher too, Miss Crosby did. when I was in 5th grade. I said, she's so great, I want to teach. And I ended up teaching for 37 years.
This one right here, what's your question?
In that picture, and the picture you showed us, we looked at the kind of
What?
the picture you showed us of him, he looked very
He looked very young in that picture.
He was ugly still.
He was.
Why did you have to be quiet when the girl went
Why did you have to be quiet when the girl went
Because
off?
if the enemy airplanes would come over, or they didn't, it was completely black, and they may be able to find out what they wanted to bomb if you would talk and make noise, so you had to be very quiet, so. But none ever came over, but we were just practicing just in case they would ever come over, that the enemy might make it to the United States.
Do y'all know what homing pigeons are?
The pigeon, like if you wanted to send a note to somebody, they know where your house is. They can travel there and give the people that you want a message, and then they can write back. and
Well,
send
Mrs.
it.
Fogel was talking about the blimps, when they went off out of the Gulf of Mexico to look for German submarines or planes or whatever. They would take pigeons aboard the blimps so that they could leave them a message, send a message back over here to the base that we spotted something or we didn't spot
My
something.
father in World War II had pigeons, and he rented them to the army. And the army would take them to France. Now that's a long way away. And they would put a message in there, and they'd be flying back. And my dad would take them down to the home garden, and they would deliver it that way. Homing pigeons with a message.
Oh, sorry, the blue
He lived in England. You lived in England.
That was in England.
They know something was wrong.
Who else had a question? Right here. How old was your teacher when she died, Miss Crosby?
This is Crosby, shit. Up then, let's see. I'm trying to think of it. She probably was, because she had not retired. So I would think she was in her 60s at that time. 60s.
Okay, wait a minute, let me get somebody different. Right here, sir.
How did she die?
How did she die?
Well, she became ill, and during that time, they didn't have the technology that we have now. And so I can't remember her, the diagnosis as to what happened.
Horse and cart all the way
But,
to Galveston.
It was probably cancer, probably, I would say.
All right, how about a girl?
Was she teaching when she died?
She's a principal.
Yes, she was the principal when she died. She was. She stayed in the hospital, John Seeley, about,
I know my neighbor is.
a month. And then she came home to be with her mother. Her mother was still living. And she must have been at home about 2 weeks. And then she died.
For those of you that didn't hear this, the lady we're talking about is Lorraine Crosby. And she was the only teacher, principal, everything at one of the first schools in Hitchcock. Because back a long time ago, schools were segregated. That meant black people went to one school and white people went to another. But this was the school that Miss Haynes went to. And Miss Crosby was the one teacher that taught her for how many years?
Through 8th grade.
Through 8th grade.
When I started school, my mom had done so well until, at that time, you had the primer, where you learned to read and write, what you call the first grade now. And I would skip that grade, the primer, and I started through in the first grade, which was next.
Okay, we got time for, do we have another correspondence that you have? Do we have time or is it time to go? It's probably time to go. Thank you all so much.